Okay, so you're a designer and you're thinking about your next career move and you see the words design interview and you're like, oh boy, here we go again.
Yeah, it's kind of like a universal feeling, right?
Totally. You can have your portfolio perfectly curated and still feel those pre-interview jitters.
Absolutely. But that's why we're here to spill the tea a little. We're diving deep into Ask Adobe Design. How can applicants stand out when interviewing for design jobs?
Ooh. Okay, so straight from the source. I love it. No generic advice here. We're talking real deal insights.
Exactly. And one thing that really jumps out is they're not just looking for someone who can, design a sleek button.
Right, it's got to be more than just the aesthetic.
Yeah, they want someone who gets the bigger picture, someone who thrives in a collaborative environment and can articulate their design thinking.
So it's like, imagine you're telling a friend about an amazing movie, right? You're not just going to be like, oh yeah, it had insert famous actor's name here. You're going to talk about the plot, the characters, how it made you feel.
Yes, 100%. That's what these design leads are saying. Tell us the story of your work.
Okay, love that. Show, don't tell, but with feeling.
Right. And Kenji Arakawa, he is a group design manager at Adobe.com. He talks about the importance of humility. You want to highlight your contributions, obviously, but it's about how you frame it. Like, say you're in an interview and you're discussing a project where you played a key role. Instead of saying, I single-handedly rescued this project, you could say something like, I saw an opportunity to improve the user flow, so I collaborated with the developer to streamline the checkout process.
Oh, that's so smart because then you're showing you understand that design is a team sport,
Exactly.
which it totally is. You can't create in a bubble.
Yeah.
I'm remembering this interview I had early in my career. I went on and on about my design genius.
Oh, no.
I know, total cringe. And I completely forgot to mention the amazing developers and project managers I worked with.
Oh, I've been there. It's so easy to get caught up in the moment.
Yeah. Needless to say, I didn't get a call back. Learn from my mistakes, people.
You live and you learn. But it really does highlight what Matthew Carlson, he's the director of user experience design, talks about. He wants to hear about the dragons you slayed and the kingdoms you saved.
Okay, I love that. So much more compelling than just listing tasks.
Right. It's not just about what you did, but the impact you made and why you made those design decisions.
We're telling a story, but it's not just any story. It's the hero's journey of our design process.
Love that.
But hold on. There's more to it than just our portfolio and our dazzling personality there.
Oh, you're catching on quickly. There's definitely more to it. Like Christopher Azar, he's a group design manager. He says he's surprised by how many candidates don't come prepared to talk about Adobe's work.
Oh, interesting. So it's not enough to just know your stuff. You got to know their stuff, too.
It makes sense, though, right? He's not expecting a dissertation, but a basic understanding of their recent projects or company direction shows you're invested and curious.
Like, you wouldn't show up to a dinner party empty-handed, would you?
Exactly. It's basic interview etiquette, but for design. It shows you didn't just glance at their website 5 minutes before the interview.
Okay, but now this is where it gets really interesting. Azar throws in a curveball question. He asks candidates what makes them grumpy in the context of design.
Oh, I love that. It's so different from the usual, what's your greatest weakness?
I know, right? Like, how would you even answer that?
It's brilliant because it immediately reveals their self-awareness and how they handle challenges. Are they quick to blame others, or do they take ownership and analyze their role in a frustrating situation? It's a window into their problem-solving approach.
Okay, I gotta say, if an interviewer asked me that grumpy question, I'd probably draw a blank for a second.
Right. It's definitely a thinker.
But it makes sense, though. They want to see how you deal with those inevitable design roadblocks.
Exactly. And that kind of ties into Bridget Farmer's advice. She's a design manager, and she encourages candidates to talk about their growth areas.
Oh, interesting. Like what they're still working on.
Yeah. Those skills or experiences they haven't quite mastered yet, which is bold. Right.
It is kind of bold. It's easy to want to be like, I'm amazing at everything.
Right. But Farmer's saying, show us where you want to improve, demonstrate that growth mindset.
Which is key in the design world because things change so fast.
All the time. New tech, new trends, it never stops. If you're not open to learning and adapting, you'll get left in the dust.
For sure. It's they say the only constant is change.
Truth.
So instead of shying away from those areas where we might feel a little, I don't know, inexperienced, we should own it.
Exactly. It shows you're self-aware, shows you're eager to keep pushing yourself.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got the gross mindset. What else?
Well, remember, design is ultimately about people.
At the end of the day, yeah.
Isabel Hamlin, she's a design manager for Spectrum. She reminds us that soft skills are just as crucial as your technical chops.
Oh, 100%.
Things like being able to read the room, being sensitive to your interviewers, and just engaging authentically. So important. You can totally tell when someone's forcing it.
Oh, yeah. Interviewers, they've got a sixth sense for that.
Totally.
So, yeah, ditch the act. Bring your authentic self to the table.
Be genuine, be you. Okay, so we've talked about telling our design story, being aware of our growth areas, and bringing our authentic selves to the interview.
Right.
Anything else our listeners should keep in mind?
Well, Shannon McCready, she's a senior design manager at Adobe. She emphasizes the need for insightful questions from candidates.
Oh, that's a good point. I feel like people often forget that part.
It's not just about getting information. It's about showing that you've done your homework. It proves that you're interested in their work, their challenges, where they see the company going.
Yeah, like Gulis Sakati said, she's the senior director of design. She's looking for that spark, that curiosity.
Yes. Don't be afraid to turn the tables a bit.
Be like, all right, enough about me. Let's talk about you. Exactly. Ask those probing questions. What are they most excited about right now? What are the biggest challenges? It shows you're engaged and thinking critically. You got it. It's about more than just filling a seat. You're bringing your unique perspective, your talents, all of that to the table. It actually reminds me of something Sudeep Chaudhuri said. He's director of design at Adobe. He said, design is a marathon, not a sprint.
He's so right. I feel like, especially early in your career, it's easy to get caught up in like landing that dream job. And then you realize pretty quickly that every job has its challenges.
Totally. You're going to run into those grumpy moments that we were talking about before. Creative blocks, tough feedback, maybe a project goes sideways. It's about how you handle those situations, how you learn from it, how you come back even stronger.
And how you support your team through it all, too. Don't forget, collaboration is key. Speaking of teams, I'm curious, you were talking about these amazing design leaders and the qualities they're looking for in candidates. What does that tell us about like the future of the design industry?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think it's really telling that they're looking beyond technical skills. They want people who are adaptable, resilient, empathetic, people who can tell a story, people who aren't afraid to ask the hard questions, people who are committed to always keep learning and growing.
It's about more than just the design, isn't it? It's about the people.
100%. It's about building that culture of collaboration and continuous growth. That's what's going to set these companies and these designers apart.
I love that. Okay, so to wrap things up for our amazing listeners, as you gear up for those design interviews, remember it's not about becoming someone you're not. It's about showing the best version of yourself. Think about those dragons you slayed, those challenges you overcame. What did you learn? How did those experiences shape you?
Yes. Be ready to tell your story. Connect those dots between your past experiences and your future goals. Show them that you're not just there for a paycheck. You're there to learn, grow, and make a real impact.
This deep dive has been incredible. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling super inspired and ready to tackle those interview questions. Good luck out there, everyone. You've got this.